They've stood for over 4,500 years, towering monuments in the desert made of millions of stone blocks, each weighing tons. No blueprints, no cranes, no modern tools, just manpower, ingenuity, and mystery. Picture this. You're standing at the base of the Great Pyramid of Giza, craning your neck upward. The limestone blocks stretch 481 feet into the sky. That's taller than a 40-story building. Each stone fitted so precisely that you can't slide a knife blade between them. The entire structure weighs approximately 6.5 million tons. That's roughly equivalent to 900 Eiffel Towers stacked together. But here's what should blow your mind. This wasn't built by some advanced alien civilization or lost technology. This was built by human beings, using copper tools, wooden sledges, and rope. People just like you and me, working under the scorching Egyptian sun, moving mountains one stone at a time. Today, I'll tell you what happened in the epic construction of the Great Pyramids. A story of human ambition, engineering genius, and the relentless pursuit of immortality. Before we dive into the mystery of pyramid construction, we need to understand the world that created them. Ancient Egypt wasn't always the pyramid-building powerhouse we know today. The story begins in the pre-dynastic period, around 3100 BC, when Egypt was still finding its identity as a unified kingdom. The mastaba foundation. Before the pyramids, Egyptians built what archaeologists call mastabas, low, rectangular structures made of mud brick that served as tombs for the elite. The word mastaba comes from the Arabic word for bench, which perfectly describes their appearance. These early tombs were essentially underground burial chambers, topped with a flat-roofed superstructure. But mastabas were more than just graves. They were status symbols, religious centers, and architectural experiments. The wealthy would construct elaborate mastabas with multiple chambers, decorated walls, and offerings, rooms where priests would perform daily rituals to sustain the deceased in the afterlife. The construction of mastabas taught Egyptian builders crucial lessons about foundation work, drainage, and structural integrity. They learned how to quarry stone, transport heavy materials, and coordinate large work crews. Most importantly, they developed the religious and cultural framework that would later drive pyramid construction. The belief that proper burial architecture could ensure immortality. The rise of divine kingship. As dynasties rose and consolidated power, so did architectural ambition. By the Third Dynasty, around 2670 BCE, pharaohs weren't content with simple mosques. They needed monuments that reflected their divine status and guaranteed their transformation into gods after death. Enter Pharaoh Djoser and his revolutionary architect. Djoser ruled during a period of unprecedented prosperity and stability. The Nile floods were reliable, trade routes were secure, and Egypt's borders were protected. This gave the pharaoh the resources and confidence to attempt something never before tried in human history. Imhotep's revolution. Imhotep wasn't just an architect. He was a polymath, high priest, physician, astronomer, and builder. He held more titles than any other non-royal figure in Egyptian history. When Djoser commissioned his tomb, Imhotep saw an opportunity to revolutionize funeral architecture. The Step Pyramid of Saqqara, completed around 2630 BCE, was Imhotep's masterpiece. Standing 204 feet tall, it was the first large-scale stone monument in human history. But it wasn't built all at once. Archaeological evidence shows that Imhotep began with a traditional mastaba, then expanded it upward in 6 distinct stages, creating the stepped appearance that gives the pyramid its name. This wasn't just architectural innovation, it was a spiritual breakthrough. The step design wasn't arbitrary. It represented a staircase to heaven, allowing the pharaoh's soul to ascend to the gods. Each level symbolized a stage in the afterlife journey, with the peak representing the final transformation into divine status. The leap from mud to stone. The transition from mud brick to stone was monumentally significant. Stone was eternal. It wouldn't crumble like mud, wouldn't be damaged by floods, and could support massive weights. But working with stone required entirely new techniques, tools, and organizational systems. Imhotep's workers had to learn how to quarry limestone, transport multi-ton blocks, and precisely fit them together. They developed copper chisels, wooden wedges, and laver systems. They created the first known architectural plans and engineering calculations. Most importantly, they proved that monumental stone architecture was possible, setting the stage for the great pyramids that would follow. The Step Pyramid complex wasn't just a tomb. It was a complete city of the dead, surrounded by a massive wall. It included temples, courtyards, storage facilities, and ceremonial buildings. This established the template for later pyramid complexes and demonstrated the organizational capacity needed for truly massive construction projects. The Great Pyramids were built during the 4th dynasty, around 2600 BCE, during what historians call the Old Kingdom period. This was ancient Egypt's golden age, a time of unprecedented wealth, political stability, and cultural achievement. The pharaohs of this era didn't just rule Egypt, they embodied it, serving as living gods who maintained cosmic order itself. The pharaohs of Giza. 3 pharaohs created the Giza complex. Khufu, Khafre, each built their pyramid as part of a larger necropolis that included smaller pyramids for queens, mastaba tombs for nobles, and elaborate temple complexes. This wasn't just individual tomb construction. It was urban planning on a massive scale. Khufu, also known by his Greek name, Cheops, ruled for approximately 23 years and commissioned the largest pyramid ever built. The Great Pyramid originally stood 481 feet tall and contained an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks. Ancient historians claimed it took 20 years to complete, requiring the labor of 100,000 workers, though modern estimates suggest the actual workforce was probably closer to 20,000 to 30,000 people. Khufu's son built the second pyramid at Giza, though slightly smaller than his father's. It appears taller because it sits on higher ground. Khafre also commissioned the Great Sphinx, carved from a single piece of limestone and featuring his face on a lion's body. This 240-foot-long monument served as a guardian for the entire complex. Manpower, Khafre's successor, built the smallest of the 3 main pyramids, standing 213 feet tall. It was still a massive undertaking, containing over 200,000 stone blocks. The smaller size might reflect changing economic conditions or shifts in religious beliefs about royal burial practices. The workers, not slaves, but skilled craftsmen. One of the most persistent myths about pyramid construction is that they were built by slaves. This misconception, popularized by Hollywood movies and outdated historical accounts, has been thoroughly debunked by modern archaeology. The reality is far more interesting and impressive. Recent discoveries at Giza have revealed extensive workers' villages, complete with medical facilities. Skeletons show evidence of sophisticated medical care, including healed fractures and successful amputations. Workers received treatment for injuries, suggesting they were valuable and cared for. Specialized housing. Different areas for different types of workers. Skilled craftsmen, seasonal laborers, and support staff. The housing quality varied based on role and skill level. Food production systems. Industrial-scale bakeries capable of producing thousands of loaves daily. Breweries that provided workers with beer, which was safer to drink than water and provided essential calories. Administrative buildings. Offices where scribes tracked work assignments, material deliveries, and progress reports, the level of organization rivaled modern construction projects. The workforce organization. The pyramid workforce was organized into competing teams, each with colorful names like Friends of Khufu and Drunkards of Menkaure. These weren't just work groups. They were social organizations that provided identity, competition, and mutual support. Archaeological evidence shows that workers came from across Egypt during the flood season, when agricultural work was impossible. They would spend 3 to 4 months working on the pyramids, then return to their farms. This seasonal labor system meant that the core workforce was supplemented by thousands of temporary workers who brought diverse skills and regional knowledge. The skilled craftsmen, stonemasons, carpenters, and engineers worked year-round and lived in permanent settlements near the pyramids. These were highly respected professionals who passed their knowledge from father to son, creating dynasties of pyramid builders, supply lines, and logistics. Building the pyramids required a supply chain that stretched across the entire Egyptian kingdom. Limestone came from local quarries near Giza, but the finest white limestone for the outer casing was transported from Tura across the Nile. Granite for the internal chambers came from Aswan, 500 miles to the south. The logistics were staggering. During peak construction, the Great Pyramid required approximately 800 tons of stone to be quarried, transported, and placed every single day. This meant quarry operations at multiple sites, river transport during flood season, overland hauling using sledges and ramps, precise placement of blocks in the growing structure, food, water, and housing for tens of thousands of workers. Pyramid City, the lost metropolis. The workers didn't live in tents or temporary shelters. Archaeological excavations have revealed Pyramid City, a massive urban complex that supported pyramid construction. This lost city included industrial districts, bakeries that could produce 4,000 loaves daily, breweries, fish processing facilities, and workshops for tool production and repair, residential areas, permanent housing for skilled workers, temporary barracks for seasonal laborers, and luxury accommodations for supervisors and officials, religious centers, temples, and shrines where workers prayed for protection and success. These weren't just personal devotion. They were part of the state religion that made pyramid construction a sacred duty. Administrative headquarters, where scribes tracked every aspect of construction, from worker attendance to material deliveries. The bureaucracy was so sophisticated that we still have some of their records today. This wasn't just a construction site, it was one of the largest cities in the ancient world, with a population that may have reached 100,000 people during peak construction periods. The Great Pyramid wasn't just a massive pile of stone. It was a sophisticated, 3D puzzle with internal chambers, passages, and features that continue to baffle researchers today. Step inside, and you'll discover that the pyramid's interior is just as mysterious as its construction. The descending passage. Your journey into the Great Pyramid begins at the original entrance, located on the north face, about 55 feet above ground level. This entrance leads to the descending passage, a narrow tunnel that slopes downward at exactly 26 degrees, 31 minutes, and 23 seconds, an angle that some researchers believe was astronomically significant. The passage is barely 4 feet high and 3.5 feet wide, forcing visitors to walk in an uncomfortable crouch. The walls are perfectly smooth limestone, cut with precision that rivals modern machine work. After descending for 345 feet, the passage leads to an unfinished chamber carved directly into the bedrock beneath the pyramid. This subterranean chamber was probably the original intended burial place for Khufu, but construction was abandoned when the plan changed. The chamber is rough and unfinished, with tool marks still visible on the walls. A passage leads from this chamber even deeper into the bedrock, but it ends abruptly, suggesting that work stopped suddenly. The ascending passage, about 60 feet from the entrance, a second passage branches upward from the descending passage. This ascending passage, also angled at 26 degrees, leads to the pyramid's most famous internal features. Originally, this passage was blocked by massive granite plugs, suggesting it was sealed after Khufu's burial. The ascending passage is even more precisely cut than the descending passage, with joints so tight that they appear to be single pieces of stone. The passage is 129 feet long and leads to a horizontal passage that connects to the Queen's Chamber. The Queen's Chamber, despite its name, the Queen's Chamber was never intended for a queen. This misnomer comes from Arab explorers, who assumed it was for a female burial. The chamber is located at the pyramid's center, precisely on the east-west axis. The Queen's Chamber is 17 feet long, 14 feet wide, and 15 feet high. With a pointed roof that mirrors the pyramid's external shape, the chamber was never finished. The floor is rough and uneven, and the walls show clear tool marks. Most mysteriously, the chamber contains 2 air shafts that don't actually reach the exterior. These shafts were discovered in 1872 and have been the subject of intense speculation ever since. In 1993, robotic exploration of these shafts revealed small copper handles attached to what appeared to be stone doors. In 2002, a robot drilled through one of these doors, only to find another chamber with another door. The purpose of these mysterious shafts remains unknown, but theories range from astronomical alignments to ritual purposes. The Grand Gallery is the Great Pyramid's most impressive internal feature. This soaring passage is 153 feet long and 28 feet high. With a corbelled ceiling that creates a sense of monumental grandeur, the gallery slopes upward at the same 26-degree angle as the other passages leading to the King's Chamber. The Grand Gallery's construction is a masterpiece of ancient engineering. The ceiling is formed by 7 courses of stone, each projecting slightly inward from the one below, creating a corbelled arch that distributes weight evenly. The side walls contain mysterious slots and holes, whose purpose remains debated. Some researchers believe the Grand Gallery functioned as a counterweight system for sealing the pyramid after burial. Others suggest it was a resonance chamber designed to amplify sound or energy. The acoustics are remarkable. A whisper at one end can be clearly heard at the other, and the chamber has a natural resonance frequency that some claim has spiritual significance. The King's Chamber. At the top of the Grand Gallery lies the King's Chamber, the pyramid's most sacred space. This chamber housed Khufu's sarcophagus and was the focal point of the entire pyramid complex. The chamber is 34 feet long, 17 feet wide, and 19 feet high, with walls made of polished red granite transported from Aswan, 500 miles to the south. The precision of the King's Chamber is extraordinary. The walls are perfectly perpendicular, the corners are exactly 90 degrees, and the entire chamber is positioned at the pyramid's center. The granite blocks weigh up to 70 tons each and are fitted together with joints thinner than a human hair. The chamber contains only one artifact, a granite sarcophagus carved from a single block of stone. The sarcophagus is larger than the chamber's entrance, proving it was installed during construction rather than moved in later. The lid is missing and has never been found, adding to the chamber's mystery. The air shafts. The King's Chamber contains 2 shafts that actually reach the pyramid's exterior. Unlike the blind shafts in the Queen's Chamber, these shafts are 8 inches square and perfectly straight, extending at precise angles to the outside world. For years, these were called air shafts and assumed to provide ventilation for the burial chamber. However, modern research suggests they had a different purpose entirely. The shafts are precisely aligned with specific stars that were important in ancient Egyptian religion. The northern shaft points to the pole star, representing the imperishable stars. The southern shaft aligns with Orion's belt, associated with Osiris, god of the afterlife. These alignments suggest the shafts were soul shafts, pathways for the pharaoh's spirit to travel to the stars and achieve immortality. The relieving chambers. Above the king's chamber lies one of the pyramid's most mysterious features. 5 small chambers, known as relieving chambers. These spaces were unknown to ancient visitors and were only discovered in modern times through exploration and drilling. The relieving chambers are exactly what their name suggests. They relieve structural pressure on the king's chamber by distributing the weight of the pyramid above. Each chamber is separated by massive granite beams, some weighing over 70 tons. But the relieving chambers contain something even more valuable than architectural innovation: ancient graffiti. The walls are covered with marks left by the original construction gangs, including hieroglyphic inscriptions that mention Khufu's name and the work teams that built the pyramid. This graffiti provides some of the strongest evidence for the pyramid's age and construction methods. The 2017 discovery, Hidden Voids. In 2017, an international team of researchers made a stunning discovery using cosmic ray imaging called Mawan tomography. This technique, similar to X-raying the pyramid, revealed previously unknown voids inside the Great Pyramid. The largest void, dubbed the Big Void, is located above the Grand Gallery and is at least 100 feet long. Its purpose is completely unknown, but theories include construction void, empty space left by the internal ramp system, structural feature, a deliberate space to reduce weight on lower chambers, hidden chamber, a sealed room containing unknown artifacts or treasures, measurement error, possible misinterpretation of the scanning data. Additional smaller voids were discovered near the pyramid's base, but their significance remains unclear. These discoveries prove that the Great Pyramid still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. The human touch. Despite the pyramid's massive scale and mathematical precision, evidence of human craftsmanship is everywhere. Ancient graffiti covers many internal surfaces, left by workers who wanted to record their participation in this monumental project. These inscriptions include team names, Friends of Khufu and similar work gang identifications, personal messages, individual workers' names and comments, religious invocations, prayers and appeals to gods for protection, construction notes, instructions and measurements for specific tasks. This graffiti provides intimate glimpses into the lives of pyramid builders. These weren't anonymous slaves, but skilled craftsmen who took pride in their work and wanted to be remembered for their contributions to eternity. The precision mystery. The interior of the Great Pyramid demonstrates precision that seems almost impossible for ancient builders. Examples include the King's Chamber, dimensions that follow mathematical ratios found in later Greek geometry, passage angles, astronomical alignments, accurate to fractions of degrees, stone fitting, joints so tight that modern tools can barely detect them, structural integrity, no significant settling or distortion after 4,500 years. This precision has led some to propose that the pyramid builders had access to advanced tools or knowledge that has been lost to history. However, experimental archaeology has shown that determined craftsmen using simple tools can achieve remarkable precision through careful measurement and skilled workmanship. The Great Pyramid wasn't just an architectural marvel, it was a cosmic machine, precisely aligned with the heavens and designed to facilitate the pharaoh's journey to the stars. Understanding the astronomical aspects of pyramid construction reveals the profound religious and scientific knowledge of ancient Egyptian civilization. The cardinal direction mystery. The Great Pyramid's alignment with the cardinal directions is one of its most remarkable features. The four sides face almost exactly north, south, east, and west, with an error of only 3/60th of a degree. To put this in perspective, that's more accurate than most modern buildings constructed with sophisticated surveying equipment. This precision wasn't accidental. It was essential for the pyramid's religious function. In ancient Egyptian belief, the cardinal directions had profound spiritual significance. North, the realm of the imperishable stars, where the pharaoh's soul would achieve immortality. South, associated with the sun god Ra and the daily cycle of death and rebirth. East, the direction of sunrise and renewal, representing resurrection. West, the realm of the dead, where the sun died each evening. Achieving this alignment required sophisticated astronomical knowledge and surveying techniques. The Egyptians couldn't use magnetic compasses, which hadn't been invented yet. Instead, they used the stars themselves as their guide. The stellar alignment method. Ancient Egyptian astronomers developed a technique called the simultaneous transit method to determine true north. This involved observing a star as it rose in the east and set in the west, then bisecting the angle between these two positions. The resulting line pointed directly to true north. The Egyptians used a tool called a merkit, essentially a sighting rod with a plumb line, to track stellar positions throughout the night. By carefully observing multiple stars over several nights, they could establish cardinal directions with extraordinary accuracy. This process required months of patient observation and mathematical calculation, demonstrating the sophisticated astronomical knowledge of pyramid builders. Archaeological evidence suggests that the Egyptians used the stars in the Big Dipper constellation for this purpose. These imperishable stars never set below the horizon in Egypt, making them ideal reference points for navigation and alignment. The precision achieved through this method rivals modern GPS systems. The Orion connection, perhaps the most significant astronomical alignment in the Great Pyramid, involves the constellation Orion, which the Egyptians called Sa. In Egyptian mythology, Orion represented Osiris, the god of the afterlife and resurrection. The pharaoh, as the earthly embodiment of Osiris, was destined to join this constellation after death. The southern shaft from the king's chamber points directly to Orion's belt, specifically to the three stars that form the belt, Alnitak, Alnalum, and Men. But this wasn't just a random alignment. The timing was crucial. Around 2500 BCE, when the pyramid was built, these stars would have been visible through the shaft during their lower culmination, the moment when they were closest to the southern horizon. This alignment wasn't merely symbolic. According to the pyramid texts, the pharaoh's soul would travel through this shaft to reach Orion and achieve immortality among the stars. The shaft served as a literal pathway to the afterlife, engineered with astronomical precision to ensure the pharaoh's successful transformation into a god. The Sirius mystery. The southern shaft from the queen's chamber aligns with Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. The Egyptians called Sirius Sopdot and associated it with the goddess Isis, wife of Osiris. Sirius had particular significance because its heliacal rising, its first appearance, before dawn after a period of invisibility, coincided with the annual Nile flood. This alignment created a cosmic triangle: Orion, Sirius, and the pole star. The pyramid's shafts connected these three celestial points, creating a symbolic map of the afterlife journey. The pharaoh would travel from the earthly realm through these stargates to join the gods in the celestial sphere. The precision of the Sirius alignment is remarkable. The shaft points to where Sirius would have appeared around 2500 BCE, accounting for the precession of the equinoxes. The slow wobble of Earth's axis that changes stellar positions over millennia. This suggests that Egyptian astronomers understood precession thousands of years before it was discovered by Greek astronomers. The solar alignments. While stellar alignments dominate the pyramid's interior, solar alignments were equally important for the external structure. The pyramid's four faces were originally covered with polished white limestone that would have reflected sunlight like a mirror. This wasn't just aesthetic, it was functional. During the spring and autumn equinoxes, the pyramid's shadow would disappear at noon, creating the illusion that the structure was floating above the ground. This effect symbolized the pharaoh's transcendence of earthly limitations and his transformation into a being of pure light. The pyramid's slope angle of 51.8 degrees also has solar significance. This angle ensures that the faces receive equal sunlight throughout the year, preventing uneven thermal expansion that could damage the structure. Additionally, some researchers suggest this angle creates specific shadow patterns that served as a giant sundial, marking important dates in the Egyptian calendar. The pyramid texts and stellar religion. The astronomical alignments weren't just architectural features. They were integral to ancient Egyptian religious beliefs about death and resurrection. The pyramid texts, carved into the walls of later pyramids, described the pharaoh's journey to the stars in vivid detail. The king appears as a star. He has passed over the winding waterway. He has flown up to the sky as a bird. He has kissed the sky as a falcon. He has reached the sky as a hiyar. These texts reveal that the pyramid wasn't just a tomb, it was a resurrection machine, designed to facilitate the pharaoh's transformation from mortal king to immortal god. Every aspect of the pyramid's design supported this function, from the astronomical alignments to the precise mathematical proportions. The duat, the Egyptian afterlife. The astronomical alignments of the Great Pyramid reflect the ancient Egyptian concept of the duat, the afterlife realm where the dead journeyed among the stars. The duat wasn't just a spiritual concept, it was a specific region of the night sky, centered on the Milky Way and including the constellations of Orion and Draco. The pyramid's shafts created a direct connection between the burial chamber and the duat, allowing the pharaoh's soul to travel instantly to the star realm. This wasn't metaphorical. The Egyptians believed in a literal journey through these stone passages to reach the celestial afterlife. The pyramid's internal chambers mirror the structure of the duat. The subterranean chamber represents the underworld, where the soul begins its journey. The queen's chamber symbolizes the place of purification, where the soul is prepared for ascension. The king's chamber represents the final transformation, where the pharaoh becomes a star. The precession problem. One of the most intriguing aspects of pyramid astronomy is how it accounts for precession. The slow wobble of Earth's axis that causes stellar positions to shift over thousands of years. The pyramid's alignments weren't designed for the stars' positions in 2500 BCE. But for their positions at a specific moment in time. Some researchers argue that the alignments target the first time, the mythical Golden Age, when the gods ruled Egypt directly. According to this theory, the pyramid's astronomical alignments connect the pharaoh not just to the contemporary sky, but to the original cosmic order established by the gods themselves. This suggests a level of astronomical sophistication that rivals modern understanding. The Egyptians would have needed to track stellar movements over centuries and extrapolate backward to determine the correct alignments. This level of mathematical and observational skill challenges conventional assumptions about ancient scientific knowledge. The calendar connection. The pyramid's astronomical alignments also connect to the Egyptian calendar system. The ancient Egyptians used a 365-day calendar based on the heliacal rising of Sirius, which coincided with the Nile flood. The pyramid's alignments helped maintain this calendar system by providing reference points for tracking stellar movements. The shafts could have served as astronomical instruments, allowing priests to observe specific stars at precise times. By tracking when stars appeared in the shafts, they could maintain accurate calendars and predict important events like the annual flood. This made the pyramid not just a tomb, but a functioning observatory that served the entire kingdom. Modern rediscovery. The astronomical significance of the Great Pyramid was largely forgotten. After ancient Egypt's decline, medieval Arab scholars noted the cardinal direction alignments, but the stellar connections weren't recognized until the 19th century. The rediscovery of pyramid astronomy revolutionized our understanding of ancient Egyptian science and religion. Modern astronomers have used computer programs to recreate the ancient Egyptian night sky, confirming the precision of pyramid alignments. These studies reveal that the builders possessed sophisticated knowledge of stellar movements, mathematical relationships, and surveying techniques that weren't matched elsewhere for thousands of years. The cosmic legacy. The astronomical alignments of the Great Pyramid represent one of humanity's earliest attempts to connect earthly architecture with cosmic order. The pyramid builders weren't just constructing a tomb. They were creating a bridge between the mortal world and the eternal realm of the stars. This cosmic ambition reflects the profound spiritual beliefs of ancient Egyptian civilization. The pharaoh wasn't just a political ruler. He was a divine being whose successful transformation into a star god was essential for maintaining cosmic order. The pyramid's astronomical precision ensured that this transformation would occur exactly as the gods intended. No ancient monument has inspired more wild theories than the Great Pyramid, from ancient aliens to lost civilizations, from energy devices to mathematical prophecies. The pyramid has become a magnet for speculation that ranges from plausible to completely absurd. Let's examine these alternative theories and separate fact from fiction. The ancient alien theory. Perhaps the most popular alternative theory suggests that the pyramids were built by extraterrestrial visitors. This idea gained widespread attention through books like Chariots of the Gods by Erich von Däniken and television shows like Ancient Aliens. Proponents argue that the pyramid's precision and scale exceed ancient human capabilities. The alien theory typically includes these claims. Impossible precision. The pyramid's mathematical relationships and astronomical alignments are too sophisticated for ancient builders. Advanced technology. The cutting and transport of massive stone blocks required technology beyond copper tools. Missing knowledge. The builders possessed information about Earth's dimensions and cosmic relationships that couldn't have been known in ancient times. Sudden appearance. Pyramid technology appeared suddenly in Egypt without apparent development. However, archaeological evidence thoroughly debunks these claims. The precision argument fails, because archaeology has demonstrated that skilled craftsmen using simple tools can achieve remarkable accuracy through careful measurement and patient work. The pyramid's precision, while impressive, is within the range of human capability using ancient techniques. The technology argument ignores the extensive evidence of Egyptian tool development, quarrying techniques, and construction methods. The progression from simple mastabas to complex pyramids shows clear technological evolution. The knowledge argument misunderstands how ancient peoples studied the natural world. Egyptian astronomers spent centuries observing stellar movements and developing mathematical relationships. Their knowledge was earned through generations of careful observation, not bestowed by aliens. The sudden appearance argument simply isn't true. Pyramid construction shows clear development from the step pyramid of Djoser, through various experimental forms to the perfected design at Giza. This evolution took over a century and shows distinctly human trial-and-error progression. The lost civilization theory. Another popular theory suggests that the pyramids were built by a lost advanced civilization, often identified with Atlantis or some other vanished culture. This theory gained traction through the work of authors like Graham Hancock and Robert Booth, who argue that pyramid construction techniques were inherited from an earlier, more sophisticated civilization. Proponents of this theory point to worldwide pyramid building. Similar structures on different continents suggest common origins. Astronomical sophistication. Knowledge of precession and stellar alignments indicates advanced understanding. Geological evidence. Some pyramid blocks show water erosion patterns that predate known Egyptian civilization. Mythological parallels. Flood myths and stories of lost civilizations appear in cultures worldwide. However, mainstream archaeology provides alternative explanations. Worldwide pyramid building represents convergent evolution, similar environmental pressures, and human needs leading to similar solutions. Pyramids are naturally stable structures, making them attractive to builders worldwide without requiring cultural contact. Astronomical sophistication developed gradually through centuries of observation. Ancient peoples everywhere studied the stars for practical reasons, leading to sophisticated astronomical knowledge without requiring lost civilizations. Geological evidence of water erosion on some monuments is disputed and can be explained by known climatic changes in Egypt's history. The evidence doesn't support the vast antiquity claimed by lost civilization theorists. Mythological parallels reflect common human experiences and the tendency to create origin stories. Similar myths don't necessarily indicate historical connections or lost civilizations. The energy device theory. Some researchers proposed that the Great Pyramid was designed as an energy-generating device, not a tomb. This theory suggests that the pyramid's internal chambers, precise dimensions, and mineral composition created a system for harnessing and transmitting energy. Energy device theories include acoustic resonance. The pyramid's chambers amplify sound waves to generate energy. Electromagnetic fields. The pyramid's shape and materials create electrical phenomena. Gravitational anomalies. The pyramid's mass and geometry affect local gravitational fields. Quantum effects. The pyramid's proportions tap into quantum energy fields. While these theories are creative, they lack scientific support. Acoustic resonance does occur in the pyramid's chambers, but this doesn't generate usable energy. The effects are minor and easily explained by the chamber's shape and materials, without requiring intentional energy generation. Electromagnetic fields around the pyramid are minimal and consistent with natural phenomena. No evidence suggests the pyramid generates significant electromagnetic energy, or that ancient Egyptians intended such effects. Gravitational anomalies don't occur around the pyramid, beyond those expected from its mass. The pyramid doesn't create unusual gravitational fields, or demonstrate gravitational manipulation technology. Quantum effects claimed by pyramid theorists aren't supported by quantum physics. The pyramid's proportions don't interact with quantum fields in the ways suggested by these theories. The Great Pyramid of Khufu used over 2.3 million limestone blocks, each weighing between 2.5 and 15 tons. To put this in perspective, that's like moving 46,000 mid-sized cars and stacking them 481 feet high with millimeter precision. How did ancient Egyptians accomplish this seemingly impossible task? The quarrying process. The journey of each pyramid block began in the quarries. The Giza Plateau itself provided most of the limestone. but the operation was far more sophisticated than simply chipping away at rock faces. Egyptian quarrymen had developed systematic methods for extracting precisely sized blocks. First, they would identify suitable limestone layers. Not too soft, not too hard, with minimal flaws or inclusions. Then they would create a grid pattern on the rock face, marking exactly where each block would be cut. This required skilled surveyors who could calculate the exact dimensions needed for different parts of the pyramid. The cutting process used copper chisels, wooden wedges, and a technique called fire setting. Workers would light fires against the rock face, then quickly douse them with water. The rapid temperature change would crack the stone along natural fault lines, making it easier to split. For the harder granite used in internal chambers, quarrymen used a different approach. They would drill holes using copper tubes filled with abrasive sand, then insert wooden wedges that would expand when wetted, splitting the rock along predetermined lines. Transport theories. The great debate, once quarried, moving these massive stones presented the greatest logistical challenge. Several theories compete to explain how ancient Egyptians transported millions of tons of stone. The wooden sled theory. The most widely accepted theory involves wooden sledges dragged across specially prepared surfaces. Egyptian tomb paintings show workers pulling sledges loaded with massive statues, and actual wooden sledges have been found in archaeological contexts. The key insight came from a tomb painting showing a worker pouring water in front of a sledge. For years, archaeologists thought this was purely ceremonial. Then in 2014, physicists at the University of Amsterdam proved that wetting sand reduces friction by up to 50%. The water creates a thin layer of moisture that acts as a lubricant, making it dramatically easier to pull heavy loads. Experiments using this technique have successfully moved multi-ton blocks with teams of 20 to 30 workers. Scale this up to the workforce available for pyramid construction, and it becomes feasible to move the required stones. The rolling log. Another theory suggests that blocks were moved on wooden rollers, similar to how ships were launched. This method has the advantage of reducing friction even more than sledges, but it presents its own challenges. The problem with rollers is that they work best on flat, smooth surfaces. The terrain around Giza is rocky and uneven, making it difficult to maintain the precise alignment needed for rolling. Additionally, the massive weight of pyramid blocks would tend to crush wooden rollers, requiring constant replacement. Some researchers suggest a hybrid approach: rollers for flat terrain, sledges for slopes and rough ground. This would maximize efficiency while adapting to changing conditions. The copper tool technology. The tools used for quarrying and shaping blocks were primarily made of copper, which was relatively soft compared to modern steel. However, Egyptian metalworkers had developed sophisticated techniques for hardening copper through cold working and alloying with small amounts of tin. Archaeological evidence shows that workers used copper chisels for detailed carving and shaping, wooden mallets to strike chisels without damaging them, stone hammers for rough shaping and breaking, copper saws for cutting softer stones, often used with abrasive sand, measuring tools, including plumb lines, levels, and measuring rods. The precision achieved with these simple tools is remarkable. Some joints between pyramid blocks are so tight that they appear to be single pieces of stone, even under magnification. Work gang organization. The actual transport was organized around work gangs with specific roles and responsibilities. Archaeological evidence suggests these gangs were highly competitive, with performance tracked and rewarded. Graffiti found inside the Great Pyramid includes messages like Friends of Khufu Gang and Drunkards of Menkaure Gang, suggesting a culture of pride and rivalry. each gang specialized in different aspects of transport. Quarry gangs extracted and rough-shaped blocks. Transport gangs moved stones from quarries to construction sites. Placement gangs positioned blocks in the pyramid structure. Finishing gangs performed final shaping and surface work. This specialization allowed for continuous workflow and quality control. While one gang was placing blocks, another was transporting the next load, and a third was preparing future deliveries. The Tora Limestone Challenge. The finest limestone for the pyramid's outer casing came from Tora, across the Nile River. This presented unique transportation challenges that required different solutions. The Tora limestone was transported during the annual flood season when the Nile was at its highest. This allowed boats to navigate closer to both the quarry and the pyramid site, reducing overland transport distances. The Egyptians built special harbors and canals to facilitate this process. Evidence suggests that massive barges, capable of carrying several tons of stone, were used for river transport. These boats were specially designed with flat bottoms and reinforced hulls to handle the weight of stone blocks. The timing had to be perfect. The flood season lasted only a few months, so the entire year's worth of Tora limestone had to be moved during this brief window. The precision factor. What makes Egyptian stone transport even more impressive is the precision required. Pyramid blocks weren't just moved. They were positioned with extraordinary accuracy. The Great Pyramid's base is level 2 within just 2.1 centimeters, and the four sides are oriented to the cardinal directions with an error of only 3/60th of a degree. This precision required not just skilled transport, but sophisticated surveying and measurement techniques. Egyptian builders used Merket, a sighting tool for astronomical observations. Bay, a palm leaf with a notched end for measuring angles. Plumb lines, for ensuring vertical alignment, are frames for checking horizontal levels. Measuring rods, standardized units for consistent dimensions. The combination of massive scale and incredible precision makes pyramid construction one of humanity's greatest engineering achievements. Perhaps no aspect of pyramid construction generates more debate than the ramps. How do you lift 2.3 million stone blocks, some weighing 15 tons, to heights of nearly 500 feet, using only human power, ropes, and wooden levers? The answer lies in one of engineering's most elegant solutions: the inclined plane, the straight ramp theory. The most straightforward approach involves a single, straight ramp leading up one side of the pyramid. This theory is appealing because it's simple, requires no complex engineering, and allows for efficient transport of materials. However, the mathematics are daunting. To maintain a reasonable slope, say 8 degrees, which is steep but manageable for heavily loaded sledges, the ramp would need to be over 3,000 feet long by the time it reached the pyramid's apex. That's more than half a mile of ramp construction, requiring millions of additional tons of fill material. The material requirements alone would be staggering. Such a ramp would require more stone and earth than the pyramid itself, essentially doubling the project scope. Additionally, the ramp would need to be constantly rebuilt as the pyramid grew taller, requiring enormous amounts of additional labor. Archaeological evidence for straight ramps is mixed. Some smaller pyramids show evidence of straight ramp construction, but no definitive traces have been found at Giza. However, the absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. The ramps would have been dismantled after construction, and 4,500 years of erosion could have erased most traces. The zigzag ramp theory, a more efficient approach, involves zigzag ramps that spiral up the pyramid's sides. This method uses significantly less material than straight ramps, while still providing access to all parts of the structure. The zigzag approach would involve switchback ramps similar to those used in modern mountain roads. Workers would haul stones up one section, then turn and continue up the next section, gradually working their way around the pyramid. This method would require only a fraction of the fill material needed for straight ramps. The main disadvantage is complexity. Turning corners with multi-ton blocks would be extremely difficult, requiring specialized equipment and techniques. Additionally, the ramps would need to be carefully coordinated with the pyramid's construction to avoid blocking access to work areas. Some evidence supports zigzag ramps. The Pyramid of Medum shows clear traces of ramp construction on multiple sides, and the Pyramid of Sinki has well-preserved ramp remains that follow a zigzag pattern up the structure. The spiral ramp theory, a variation of the zigzag approach, involves a single spiral ramp that winds around the pyramid's exterior. This method would be more efficient than zigzag ramps while avoiding the material requirements of straight ramps. The spiral would begin at the pyramid's base and gradually wind upward, maintaining a constant slope. As the pyramid grew taller, the spiral would make additional circuits, always staying at the appropriate height for the current construction level. This approach has several advantages. Constant slope. Unlike zigzag ramps, workers wouldn't need to navigate sharp turns. Efficient material use. The ramp would be relatively narrow and wouldn't require massive amounts of fill. Continuous access. Workers could access any part of the pyramid without changing ramps. However, spiral ramps present their own challenges. The curved path would make it difficult to maintain straight lines when positioning blocks, and the ramp would need to be constantly adjusted as construction progressed. The internal ramp theory. The most revolutionary theory was proposed by French architect Jean-Pierre Houdin in 2007. His internal ramp theory suggests that after the initial courses were built using external ramps, the Egyptians constructed a spiraling ramp inside the pyramid itself. This theory addresses many of the problems with external ramps. No material waste. The internal ramp becomes part of the pyramid structure. Weather protection. Workers inside the pyramid would be protected from sun and sandstorms. Precise positioning. The internal environment would allow for more accurate block placement. Continuous access. The ramp could be extended as construction progressed. Houdin's theory gained credibility in 2017, when cosmic ray imaging revealed previously unknown voids inside the Great Pyramid. These voids could be remnants of the internal ramp system, though their exact purpose remains unclear. The internal ramp theory also explains some puzzling features of pyramid construction. The Grand Gallery. This elaborate internal passageway could have served as part of the ramp system. The relieving chambers. These spaces above the king's chamber could have been accessed via internal ramps. The precise corner angles. Internal ramps would allow for better measurement and alignment. The combination theory. Most modern researchers believe that pyramid construction involved multiple ramp systems used in combination. The approach would change based on the pyramid's height and the specific construction challenges at each level. The most likely scenario involves 1. Initial construction. Straight ramps for the lower courses, where massive amounts of stone needed to be moved quickly. 2. Middle construction. Zigzag or spiral ramps for the middle sections, balancing efficiency with material conservation. 3. Final construction. Internal ramps for the upper courses, where precision became more important than speed. This combination approach would maximize efficiency while adapting to changing requirements throughout the construction process. The missing evidence problem. One of the greatest challenges in ramp research is the lack of definitive archaeological evidence. Unlike the pyramids themselves, which were built to last forever, ramps were temporary structures that were dismantled after construction. However, Some evidence does exist. Tool marks, scratches on pyramid blocks that suggest they were dragged up inclined surfaces, ramp remnants, partial remains of ramps at other pyramid sites, papyrus records, ancient documents that mention ramp construction, though details are limited, experimental archaeology, modern attempts to recreate pyramid construction techniques. Despite decades of research, no definitive physical ramp remains have been found at Giza. This has led some researchers to propose that the ramps were built on the plateau's natural rock surface, leaving minimal archaeological traces. Modern experiments. Contemporary researchers have conducted numerous experiments to test ramp theories. These experiments have revealed important insights. Human power limits. Teams of 20 to 30 people can move blocks weighing several tons using appropriate techniques. Ramp slope requirements. Slopes steeper than 10 degrees become extremely difficult for heavy loads. Surface preparation. Properly prepared surfaces can reduce friction by up to 50%. Coordination challenges. Moving large blocks requires precise timing and communication. These experiments confirm that ramp-based construction is feasible, but they also highlight the enormous organizational challenges involved. The logistics of coordinating thousands of workers on multiple ramps, while maintaining construction quality, would have required unprecedented management skills. The mathematical prophecy theory. Some researchers claim that the Great Pyramid's dimensions encode mathematical relationships that predict future events or reveal hidden cosmic truths. This theory suggests that the pyramid's builders possessed prophetic knowledge and embedded it in the structure's geometry. Mathematical prophecy theories include biblical chronology. The pyramid's measurements correspond to biblical dates and events. Historical predictions. Dimension ratios predict wars, disasters, and historical turning points. Cosmic constants. The pyramid's proportions reveal fundamental mathematical relationships. Geometric perfection. The structure demonstrates mathematical knowledge beyond its time. However, these theories suffer from several problems. Selective interpretation allows theorists to find meaningful patterns in any complex structure. The pyramid's dimensions can be manipulated to predict almost anything through careful selection of measurements and creative mathematical manipulation. Confirmation bias leads researchers to emphasize measurements that support their theories while ignoring contradictory evidence. The pyramid's actual construction tolerances make precise mathematical relationships impossible to verify. Historical hindsight makes it easy to find apparent predictions after events have already occurred. True prophecy would require predictions made before events, not interpretations created afterward. Mathematical anachronism assumes that ancient builders possessed mathematical knowledge that wasn't developed until centuries later. The pyramid's proportions reflect the mathematical understanding of its time, not advanced concepts from later periods. The debunking process. The scientific community has systematically examined alternative pyramid theories and found them lacking in evidence. This doesn't mean that mainstream archaeology is closed to new ideas. It means that extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. The process of debunking involves archaeological evidence. Physical remains, tools, and construction debris provide direct evidence of building methods. Experimental archaeology, modern recreations of ancient techniques, demonstrate what was possible with available technology. Historical documentation. Ancient texts, inscriptions, and records describe construction methods and purposes. Scientific analysis. Advanced techniques like carbon dating, geological analysis, and materials science provide objective data. The value of alternative theories. While most alternative theories lack scientific support, they serve important functions. Public engagement. Controversial theories generate interest in archaeology and ancient history. Creative thinking, alternative perspectives sometimes lead to genuine insights and new research directions. Critical evaluation. Debunking false theories helps refine our understanding of what actually happened. Cultural significance. Theories reflect contemporary concerns and interests about technology, spirituality, and human potential. The continuing mystery. Despite decades of research, the Great Pyramid continues to reveal new secrets. Recent discoveries like the hidden voids detected by cosmic ray imaging prove that our understanding is still incomplete. However, these mysteries are likely to be solved through continued archaeological research, not through appeal to aliens or lost civilizations. The real story of pyramid construction. Human ingenuity, religious devotion, and organizational brilliance is far more impressive than any alternative theory. The ancient Egyptians achieved something extraordinary using the tools and knowledge available to them, creating a monument that has inspired wonder for millennia. Encouraging fact-based inquiry. Egyptologists welcome public curiosity about the pyramids, but they encourage fact-based inquiry rather than speculation. The tools of archaeology, history, and science provide reliable methods for understanding the past. While alternative theories make for entertaining television and books, they ultimately distract from the genuine achievements of ancient Egyptian civilization. The Great Pyramid stands as testament to human capability, not alien intervention. Its builders were skilled craftsmen, brilliant engineers, and devout believers who created something magnificent through knowledge, determination, and faith. That human story is more remarkable than any science fiction alternative. The Great Pyramids of Giza have transcended their original purpose as royal tombs to become symbols of human achievement, mystery, and ambition. For over 4,500 years, they have inspired architects, challenged scientists, and captivated the imagination of people worldwide. Their legacy extends far beyond ancient Egypt, influencing everything from modern architecture to popular culture, architectural inspiration through the ages. The pyramids' influence on architecture spans millennia. Their geometric perfection, monumental scale, and symbolic power have inspired builders throughout history. Medieval Islamic architects studied the pyramids extensively, incorporating their mathematical proportions into mosque design. The geometric principles discovered in pyramid construction influenced Islamic architectural traditions that spread across the known world. Renaissance architects rediscovered pyramid proportions during the revival of classical learning. Leon Battista, Alberti, and other Renaissance masters studied pyramid geometry, incorporating these principles into church designs and civic buildings. The pyramid became a symbol of divine perfection and mathematical harmony. Neoclassical architects in the 18th and 19th centuries directly copied pyramid forms. The Washington Monument, completed in 1884, is essentially a hollow pyramid, a tribute to American democratic ideals, using ancient Egyptian architectural language. Similar obelisks and pyramid-inspired structures appeared in capitals worldwide. Modern architects continue to draw inspiration from pyramid design. I.M. Pei's glass pyramid at the Louvre Museum demonstrates how ancient forms can be reinterpreted using contemporary materials and techniques. The pyramid's timeless geometry adapts to modern needs while maintaining its symbolic power. Contemporary skyscrapers often incorporate pyramid elements. From the Transamerica Pyramid in San Francisco to the Luxor Hotel in Las Vegas, these structures prove that pyramid geometry remains relevant and appealing to modern sensibilities. Scientific and mathematical legacy. The pyramid's contribution to human knowledge extends beyond architecture. Geometric principles discovered through pyramid study advanced mathematical understanding. The golden ratio, pi, and other mathematical constants appear in pyramid proportions, contributing to the development of mathematical theory. Engineering techniques developed for pyramid construction influenced infrastructure projects worldwide. The principles of moving massive objects, coordinating large workforces, and maintaining structural integrity during construction remain relevant today. Astronomical knowledge encoded in pyramid alignments, advanced understanding of celestial mechanics, the precision of stellar alignments demonstrated sophisticated knowledge of Earth's relationship to the cosmos. Archaeological methodology developed through pyramid excavation advanced the scientific study of the past. Techniques for documenting, analyzing, and interpreting ancient structures were refined through pyramid research. Materials science benefits from studying pyramid construction. Understanding how ancient builders achieved such durability provides insights for modern construction techniques and materials development. Cultural and symbolic impact. The pyramid's symbolic power extends far beyond their physical presence. Religious symbolism incorporates pyramid imagery across cultures. The pyramid represents ascension, transformation, and the connection between earth and heaven. These themes appear in religious art, architecture, and spiritual practices worldwide. National identity uses pyramid imagery to represent permanence, strength, and achievement. Countries worldwide have adopted pyramid symbols on currency, flags, and official seals to convey stability and endurance. Popular culture has embraced pyramid imagery in countless forms. From science fiction movies to video games, from conspiracy theories to New Age spirituality, the pyramid has become a universal symbol of mystery and power. Corporate branding frequently uses pyramid imagery to suggest reliability, hierarchy, and timeless value. The pyramid's geometric perfection and historical longevity make it an attractive symbol for businesses seeking to project permanence and quality. Tourism and economic impact. The pyramids generate enormous economic value for Egypt and the world. Direct tourism brings millions of visitors to Egypt annually, generating billions in revenue. The pyramids are among the world's most visited tourist attractions, supporting entire industries of hotels, restaurants, transportation, and services. Cultural tourism creates economic value beyond direct visits. Pyramid-inspired attractions, museums, and educational programs worldwide generate revenue while spreading knowledge about ancient Egyptian civilization. Academic research, funded by interest in the pyramids, supports universities, research institutions, and archaeological projects. The pyramids' continuing mysteries justify ongoing scientific investigation and education. Media and entertainment industries profit from pyramid-themed content. Books, movies, television shows, and documentaries about the pyramids generate revenue while educating and entertaining audiences worldwide. International cooperation around pyramid research builds diplomatic relationships and cultural understanding. Joint archaeological projects bring together researchers from different countries, fostering collaboration and knowledge sharing. Educational and inspirational value. The pyramids serve as powerful educational tools. STEM education uses pyramid construction to teach engineering, mathematics, physics, and astronomy. Students learn about laser systems, geometric principles, and astronomical alignments through pyramid studies. Historical understanding benefits from pyramid research. The pyramids provide insights into ancient Egyptian society, religion, technology, and daily life that enhance our understanding of human development. Critical thinking develops through pyramid study. Students learn to evaluate evidence, analyze competing theories, and distinguish between fact and speculation. Skills essential for citizenship in the modern world. Cultural appreciation grows through exposure to pyramid achievement. Understanding what ancient Egyptians accomplished encourages respect for human capability and cultural inspiration for achievement comes from pyramid example. The pyramids demonstrate that humans can accomplish extraordinary things through cooperation, planning, and determination. Technological legacy. Modern technology continues to reveal pyramid secrets. Non-invasive imaging techniques like cosmic ray muography reveal internal structures without damaging the monuments. These technologies, developed for pyramid research, have applications in geology, archaeology, and materials science. 3D modeling and virtual reality allow people worldwide to explore pyramid interiors digitally. These technologies preserve pyramid knowledge and make it accessible to global audiences. Robotic exploration of pyramid passages advances robotics technology. Robots designed for pyramid exploration contribute to developments in remote sensing, artificial intelligence, and automated systems. Conservation technology developed for pyramid preservation helps protect cultural heritage sites worldwide. Techniques for monitoring structural stability, controlling environmental conditions, and preventing deterioration benefit global conservation efforts. Challenges and preservation. The pyramids face modern challenges that threaten their preservation. Environmental threats include air pollution, acid rain, and climate change. Urban development around Cairo creates pollution that damages pyramid surfaces, while changing weather patterns threaten structural integrity. Tourism pressure creates physical wear and tear. Millions of visitors annually stress pyramid structures, requiring careful management to balance access with preservation. Political instability in the region affects pyramid security and research. Wars, revolutions, and economic disruptions interrupt conservation efforts and threaten monument safety. Funding limitations restrict preservation efforts. Maintaining the pyramids requires significant resources for research, conservation, and security that strain available budgets. Technological solutions are being developed to address these challenges. Advanced monitoring systems, protective treatments, and sustainable tourism practices help preserve the pyramids for future generations. The future of the pyramids. The pyramids' future depends on continued human commitment to their preservation. International cooperation will be essential for maintaining the pyramids. Global support for conservation, research, and education ensures that these monuments remain accessible to future generations. Technological advancement will continue revealing pyramid secrets. New imaging techniques, analytical methods, and exploration technologies will enhance our understanding while supporting conservation efforts. Educational expansion will spread pyramid knowledge worldwide. Digital technologies, virtual reality, and online resources will make pyramid education accessible to global audiences. Conservation innovation will develop new methods for protecting the pyramids. Advanced materials, monitoring systems, and environmental controls will help preserve these monuments against modern threats. Cultural appreciation will ensure continued support for pyramid preservation. Understanding the pyramid's significance for human heritage motivates ongoing efforts to protect and study these remarkable structures. The eternal message. The Great Pyramids stand as humanity's most enduring architectural achievement. They remind us that humans can accomplish extraordinary things when united by common purpose, guided by knowledge, and motivated by faith. In an age of rapid change and technological advancement, the pyramids provide a connection to our deepest human aspirations, the desire to create something lasting, meaningful, and beautiful. They challenge us to think beyond our individual lives and consider what we might accomplish together. They inspire us to pursue knowledge, perfect our skills, and strive for excellence. Most importantly, they prove that human beings, working together with simple tools and determined purpose, can create wonders that endure for millennia. The pyramids' greatest legacy isn't their mystery or their monuments, It's their demonstration of human potential. They show us what we're capable of when we commit ourselves to something greater than individual gain. In a world often divided by differences, the pyramids remind us of our shared humanity and our capacity for extraordinary achievement. The Great Pyramid isn't just a tomb. It's a statement, a question in stone. What are we truly capable of? Standing there in the desert for over 4.5 millennia, it has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the birth of religions, and the advance of human knowledge. It has survived earthquakes, wars, and the relentless erosion of time. And still it stands. A testament to human ambition, ingenuity, and the power of collective purpose. The pyramid builders didn't have cranes or computers, GPS or advanced. They had something perhaps more powerful: vision, determination, and the absolute belief that they could achieve the impossible. They took millions of tons of stone and transformed them into a gateway to eternity. Today, we face our own impossible challenges: climate change, space exploration, global cooperation. The pyramid builders remind us that humans have always found ways to overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles. They did it with copper tools and rope. What might we accomplish with our modern technology and accumulated knowledge? The mystery isn't how they built the pyramids. It's why we ever doubted they could do it. The ancient Egyptians were people just like us, with the same intelligence, creativity, and determination. They prove that ordinary humans can achieve extraordinary things when they work together toward a common goal. If this journey through ancient Egypt has revealed new mysteries for you, if it's changed how you think about human potential, or if it's simply given you a new appreciation for what our ancestors achieved, then support this channel. Like, share, and subscribe. Because the stories of human achievement are too important to be forgotten. There are still secrets buried in the sand, still chambers waiting to be discovered, still mysteries that challenge our understanding of the past. The pyramids continue to teach us about ourselves, our capabilities, and our potential. Remember, every time you face something that seems impossible, there's a pyramid in the desert that whispers, "Humans built this." With their hands, their minds, and their unshakable belief that they could touch eternity. Until next time, this is your host, reminding you that the greatest mysteries aren't always about what happened in the past. They're about what we're capable of in the future. Because I'll tell you what happened, and there's still so much more to build.